Hi, this is my second video journal, and before mentioning the topic that I chose to talk about in depth in this video, I want to give you a backstory of how I came about choosing this topic. Well, first of all, when you gave the instructions of making this video, you told us that we had the chance of choosing sort of a free topic for analyzing it. Basically, you said that we could choose either the lyrics of a song, like a controversial song to analyze maybe, or videos, movies, pieces of art, literature, whatever you could think of. You had the chance of choosing it and analyzing it for this video. And I thought, okay, cool. I've listened to plenty of different songs, watched lots of movies and different videos. So that was really cool. But then time went by and I forgot about this assignment. And when I remembered I had to do this, I thought to myself, okay, I have no topic, so I have to choose one right away. And that's when I thought of a podcast that I've been listening to recently called Copadas. It's a feminist podcast. They talk about what women go through in their everyday lives. They talk about feminism, sex, men, whatever you can think of, they talk about it, but from a feminist perspective, from a feminist point of view. Which basically, when in this podcast, they talk about different things, and the topic of bodies and this image of a perfect body came up to my mind, and I thought, okay, cool, I'm going to talk about this. So that's the topic of my video. This image of having a perfect body that has been constructed by society, by media, by ourselves, and how it is quite damaging to us, and lots of different things related to that, okay? First of all, I want to say that from a very young age, we as women have been exposed to this idea or this concept of what a perfect body is. Different external factors and people and society in general have been constantly promoting this idea of having a perfect body, and that having that should be one of our goals in life. Our upbringings have been quite influenced by society, by people in general, and by media, in terms of promoting this idea that we should look a certain way and that we should behave a certain way. If you think of this concept of having a perfect body, probably an image of a fit, stunning, beautiful girl shows up in your mind, because that's what media and society accepts as a perfect body, like a stereotypical image of an American girl, right? That's quite controversial in a way, and I find it very offensive to other people in other cultures, because it's quite discriminatory and they exclude different varieties of people, of color, of shapes and styles. And besides that, I think that there's a discrepancy in terms of how we show ourselves to the world, right? How we show this image or how we portray this image of how we look with how we really feel on the inside. I mean, think of a Victoria's Secret model. If you look at them, you're probably going to think, okay, she's stunning, she looks beautiful, very fit, tan, athletic, but you don't really know what's going on inside. Right, on the inside, she may be going through a shit ton of problems. She may have low self-esteem. She may think, okay, I have to lose some weight. My body isn't the right one for this fashion show, or my body isn't like the other ones, right? So we show ourselves to the world in a way, and people just look at that, just focus on the external image that we portray instead of focusing on what's on the inside. And I think we have to take into consideration the second part to a greater level rather than the first one. Right? Besides that, I think that talking about bodies in general and the variety of them is quite taboo in a way. I mean, people constantly do that. People constantly talk about other people's bodies and their own bodies, but it's still a sensitive topic, and most people don't want to talk about it like in public or to the open world in a way. They prefer to talk about it in smaller circles, like comfortable environments, because it's still a quite sensitive topic. However, I think that we should talk about this. We have to destroy or try to erase this implanted idea of a perfect body. There's no such thing as a perfect body, and I want to connect it with the concept of beauty, because some people think that perfection equals beauty, and I want to bring up this saying which says beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So basically what that saying says is that beauty is subjective. I can consider something beautiful which you may not, right? And we should accept all different types of beauties, right? There's no just one perfect body. All our bodies are perfect, right? So we have to change that mindset, although it's quite difficult. And on the one side we have feminist movement and people in general, and mostly women, trying to change that mindset, but on the other hand we still got society and media who are constantly promoting this image of perfection, of a perfect body, through advertisements and different campaigns, you know. So it's a constant struggle, but I think eventually we will change that, hopefully. Furthermore, I want to talk about the concept body shaming. Basically, body shaming is self-explanatory. When you shame other people because of their bodies or because of how they look, more specifically. And I want to say that body shaming starts from a very young age. We can find it at schools, we can find it at homes, right? Promoting this image of perfection, that in order to be beautiful or to be accepted by society, by men, you have to follow certain standards, you have to weigh a certain amount of kilos and look a certain way, right? Personally, I think I have experienced body shaming, probably by other people, but I haven't really like heard them saying it to me. But I do have body shamed myself, right? If you asked me like a few years ago, I would have told you that I hated my body, that I looked awful, that I wanted to lose some weight because I was fat, and I had very low self-esteem, and lots of insecurities were right there. And I tried doing whatever it took to fit into the category of being accepted by society and looking a certain way. But time went by and I started changing that mindset. I started accepting my body, accepting my curves and the way I look and why I'm the way I am. And besides that, I started working out, and I mean, I've been working out for almost 2 years now, but when I started working out, one of my motivations for that was to lose weight because I wanted to look skinnier, right? But as time went by, I came into the conclusion that that's just bullshit, and that now I've changed my mindset into a positive one, and I do work out because I really love working out, because I love getting stronger and I love lifting weights. And whenever I work out, I release the tension that I've been holding within. I forget about the things that I have to do and just focus on that moment. Apart from that, I've been seeing some results in my physical appearance. I've become more comfortable with my body. I've accepted some of the things that I've got. I've become stronger. That's something that I really love. So yeah, that's sort of my personal experience with body shaming and learning how to accept myself and love myself. Moreover, I want to mention or bring up this concept of fat phobia. Fat phobia basically is this feeling of disgust against people who are considered fat or overweight. And basically all of this is under the beauty standards of capitalism and patriarchy, right? So if you don't follow those standards, you are considered fat or overweight, and basically you don't sell, your body doesn't sell, it's not useful in terms of selling, right? So capitalism and patriarchy consider your body as useless, as worthless, right? So for example, if you've got a wide waist, or if you've got thick thighs or stretch marks, cellulite, saggy titties, body hair, all of those characteristics and attributes and features that are completely normal because all women go through them, and same thing with men, they are not accepted, right? Now, all of this can lead to really damaging results, like discrimination, right? So we discriminate each other, we discriminate people because of the way they look, because of how they are. We start objectifying people, right? So those ones who follow those beauty standards are just seen as objects, as things that only sell, and we start devaluing ourselves, right? Which is sort of self-explanatory. Now, the funny thing about this is that having fat phobia can go both ways. I mean, if you are considered fat or overweight, you can still have this feeling of disgust towards towards people who are overweight, even though you are still overweight, right? And same thing with fit people, right? Okay, and one last thing regarding fat phobia is that all of this promotes competition between women, right? So who's the better looking? Who looks more fit? Who has their narrower waist, right? So it promotes competition between women, and therefore this can have not beneficial or damaging outcomes or results, right? So competition between women and discrimination and objectifying and devaluing other people's bodies can lead to psychological problems. People can develop eating disorders, people can develop depression, right? In the case of eating disorders, people can starve themselves to death because they have to reach that goal of looking a certain way or weighing a specific amount of kilos, right? So it's very, very complicated and a very touching, a very sensitive topic. Moreover, I want to bring up this topic of being afraid of gaining weight or fear of gaining weight. I think if you ask most women, or women in general, I think all of them would say that they have experienced that at least once in their life, right? Either when they were little girls or nowadays, but this constant reminder of looking a certain way is still present, and whether you like it or not, it terrifies us to think that we have gained a few pounds or kilos. Personally, I don't like thinking about that, but whenever I look myself in the mirror, sometimes that reminder pops up, and I think about that. I don't know if that happens to men as well, probably, but it's a very sensitive topic and it's really difficult to erase, right? I think if we don't erase this mindset of perfection, of having a perfect body, we won't be able to finally forget about this concept of being afraid of gaining weight, because one thing leads to another. If we constantly see different ads and if media is constantly advertising that we have to look a certain way and we don't look that certain way, of course that is going to trigger something in us, right? And we are going to do everything in our power to avoid that, to avoid gaining weight. And look at now, we just finished our holidays and people are starting to think, okay, I have to go on a diet, I have to lose some kilos because I've gained all this weight during these holidays, right? So it's a very interesting thing to think about, okay? Besides that, I want to comment on the similarities that I could find between when you are being catcalled on the street and when people compliment or congratulate you because you have lost weight. It is interesting to me to see this similarity because in both situations people feel the urge or they feel entitled to comment or talk about the way you look, right? To talk about your body, your body weight, your image in general. So it's very interesting for me to see that. The only thing that I can say is that my body isn't an object that needs your approval, so keep your comments to yourself. There's no need for you to mention something about the way I look, right? Or my body weight. So yeah. And finally, the last thing that I want to say in order to wrap up this whole video is how media profits from our insecurities, from the insecurities that we as women have and are constantly being reinforced, promoted and shown by the media, right? Through advertisements and all sorts of means of communication. In this case, I think, okay, if we didn't care about the way we look, if we didn't care about our image, but in a good way, we wouldn't have to use or buy the products that these companies sell. Because let's think, for example, of shaving products like razor blades or waxing products. So if we think about this example, if we didn't care about our body hair or about waxing, these companies would either break, like go bankrupt, because they wouldn't sell anything, or they would not exist, right? Because there would be no need for them to sell those things because women would accept their body hair, which is completely natural, right? All in all, this is a very sensitive topic, but the only thing that I can say is accept yourself, love your body, do not comment on other people's appearance or body image. Do whatever you want to do, wear whatever you want to wear. If it makes you happy, then go for it. That's the main goal in this case. And there's no need to comment on other people's image, right? Because it's not our place to do so. And yeah, that's basically it. That's the whole video, and I hope you liked it. Bye.